Good morning, girls. How are you today? Okay, so today we're going to start with our lesson, the fossil record. And we're going to take only part of it today, and then part of it tomorrow, and then the third part after tomorrow. So it's going to be 3 videos. So this is the first one. Okay, we're going to learn about fossils today, what fossils are, how did they form. It's just an introduction. Okay? So first thing, before we start that, we have to have prior knowledge about something. Like this is lessons that you've taken, I think, in grade 7 or maybe 6. You've taken about the kinds of rocks. I think maybe last year you took that. We just have to remember both 2 kinds. We have to remember sedimentary rocks, and we have to remember igneous rocks. So sedimentary rocks are basically rocks that form from compaction. Compaction means when you have different rocks. Look at that. And then they have compacted together. لزقوا ببعض. هذا يعني compaction. That means they just stick together, they compact. But this doesn't happen overnight. This happens over thousands of years of pressure and high temperature. So a lot of pressure, thousands of years, okay? And then you get sedimentary rocks. They don't just happen overnight. This is a very, very long process. Okay? So it's cementation. يعني لما يلزقوا ببعض of sediments. Sediments means small rocks. Okay? مثل التراب اللي بتشوفوه بالبحر هذا اسمه sediments. So these are sedimentary rocks. Okay? They happen over time because of pressure, temperature. They just stick together, they make a rock. Okay, igneous rocks basically form from volcanoes. Okay? You have magma in volcanoes, which is down here, and then lava. When it comes out, magma لما يطلع لبرا بيصير اسمه lava. Okay, so when the lava cools down, it makes rock, or when magma cools under, it makes a rock. This rock is called igneous rock. Okay, so basically igneous rocks form when magma and lava cool down. So that's basically these 2 kinds of rocks, okay, that you have to know before we start our lesson. We have to know what these types of rocks before we learn about fossils. Okay, so let's talk about this. This was supposed to be one of the questions you did in the class instructions in your opening activity. So basically, how did the humans know that dinosaurs existed, right? We didn't exist at the same time dinosaurs existed. Dinosaurs died millions and millions of years before we humans were born. So how did we know about them? How did we know how they looked like, how big they were? How did we know all of these? Okay, and how were we able to build computer models? Look at this. This is a computer model. How did humans know all of that? You guessed it, fossils. Okay, humans found fossils of dinosaurs preserved in the earth over millions of years. They were able to see them, okay, see their sizes, see their shapes, see the different kind of dinosaurs, and they were able to build computer models and actually have museums where you can go and actually see dinosaur bones that have been dinosaur fossils that have been dug up. Okay, so fossils are really important for us to learn about the history of the earth. Okay, how else would we know about the species that lived before us? Okay, so in general, what are fossils? So what's the definition of fossils? It's right here. It's the remains. That means what remained of living, okay, that were once living. Organisms that were once living. So what are the remains of organisms that were once living are called fossils. Remains means what remained after these organisms died. Okay? You have a lot of kinds of fossils. We're going to talk about the kinds of fossils in a different video. So we know about the history of life on Earth from studying fossils. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh, we're back. Okay. So how do fossils form? So you have a lot of kinds of fossils, and each kind of fossil forms in a different way. But we're going to talk about one of the main ways that fossils form. Okay? So let's look at this, for example. Let's look at the example down here. Okay, so you have Durudin. Let's say it's kind of whale. Okay, this whale was injured and was near death. He dies, and then he sinks down to the bottom of the ocean where the sand is. So this whale, it died, it sank down. And then scavengers, you see these living things, they came down and they ate its meat, but they left the bones. Okay, then sediments buried the entire skeleton. So you have more sand coming in because, you know, waves are moving. Over the years, the whole skeleton was buried underground. Okay, and then you have layers and layers of sediment over thousands of years have actually buried this skeleton over here. So the ocean floor becomes dry due to tectonic changes, you know, over years. We're not talking about a few years, we're talking about thousands of years. Sometimes the ocean floor becomes dry, okay, and becomes land. Okay, so this scientist over here was able to dig up the remains, the bones that remain from this whale, okay, and these bones are called fossils. So this is a way fossils are formed. To summarize, you have a living thing, it died, it sank, its meat was gone by decomposition or by other species eating it, became a skeleton, it was buried in sand over thousands of years, became a fossil, and a human dug it up. So this is a way fossils are formed. Okay? They form in different ways, but most fossils actually often occur in rivers, lakes, oceans, and they're found in sedimentary rock, like here. These are they're found in sedimentary rocks. Okay, so therefore, water-dwelling organisms, that means marine life, or organisms that live in water, are most likely to be fossilized than land animals. Okay, now what you need to know about fossils is that not all living organisms become fossils. Not every organism that was living and then died becomes a fossil. That's very rare. Actually, only 1% of all species that ever lived became fossilized. Only 1%. Okay? Because most of the species are either eaten, scattered, dissolved by water, or decomposed. In most cases, organisms are not fossilized. Okay? Sometimes conditions prevent fossils. So, if you find a fossil, that means you found something that's very rare. It doesn't really happen very often. Now, we're going to take the types of fossils, but we're going to do that in another lesson. So that's it for today. That's all you needed to know. Tomorrow we will learn about the types of fossils in another video. Have a nice day.